You're muted.
You know what? Details. Hey, rise up in real estate. Now, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, we're professionals here at Rise Up in Real Estate. We're just putting together a little show that's live, and I'm so excited that all of you are here to watch our bumbling around. I want to introduce to you our special guests today. I literally, Mandy says this, I try to put 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound sack. You ever heard that? Today, I totally did that, and I was running from one meeting to the next. My day is full of meetings because I spent so much time Christmas shopping the last 2 days and wrapping presents that now I got to cram all my work into one day. But I'm glad to have Lawton here. Lawton, how are you?
Hanging in there.
I usually have done mic checks and stuff by now, but this is our mic check. Ashley, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Okay, loud and clear. I hate that I have turkeys up here. It's way after Thanksgiving, but I can't find the Christmas border, so I'm sorry about that. Ed. Yeah, shut up.
I'm joking.
Ed's like, no, it's not working. That's awful. Glad to have you back, Ed. Thank you for coming to visit us again. I'm excited to ask you a few more detailed questions about business development. And I got interested about this a few weeks ago, or actually longer than that. When I think about what you do and who you are, I want to just dig into that a little bit. But before we do that, talk to me a little bit about the holiday season. We talked about Thanksgiving before, but I want to get all three of you, like, your view. What do y'all do for Christmas? Do you travel? Do you stay home? Give me a little bit of that. Lawton, we'll start with you because I know you got a little bit going on.
Yeah, as of last year and this year being married, me and my wife traveled to New York for Christmas. And I told somebody that yesterday, and they said, wow, you're going to New York City around Christmas to see your family. Well, she lives in upstate New York, so it's not quite the same experience, but we're traveling up there. So we're there for Christmas Day and a couple of days around it, when it's kind of the only time we get to see our whole family together currently. So traveling up there, got to get my coats out, although I've had them out the last couple of days, but looking forward to it. I know. Yeah, I don't have any of those, so we'll see how that goes.
How cold will it be up there?
I think it was like 9 degrees last night, so I'm hoping for 10s or 20s, but we'll see.
Whew. And you had last year, you showed me this cabin that y'all went to, and it was like the whole thing was closed in like a it looked like the whole outside of the building was frozen. The ground was frozen. It looked ridiculously sad. What, does they still have that cabin?
No, they sold that for some of the same reasons. So that is out of the picture now.
That's nice. So they don't have that anymore, but it is going to be cold. You fly into Syracuse, right?
Yep. And it's about an hour north of there. So if you go to Canada and go 30 minutes south, you'll find me.
That's great. That's great. It's great for me because I don't have to do your Christmas until the 29th. Gives me a chance to not buy presents for a while. I can get them out on sale after Christmas for you, so I can't wait to do that. I'm gonna this is terrible. The border's terrible. That's better. Ashley, what about you? What are you? Happy Thanksgiving, since that's what the border said.
This is great. A minute ago it was a turkey, and I'm a Hokie, so I feel like that is perfect because it was, yeah. I mean, at least on my screen, that's on my little corner of the screen. I don't know if it shows up the same for everybody, but the turkey is appropriate. So my sister, my niece, my nephew live in Virginia, just outside of Charlottesville. She has this beautiful horse farm, about 10 acres and a barn and goats and pigs and chickens and dogs and total chaos. And I am not going this year. So Mom is going to fly up there, and I am going to stay here with our pack of little dogs. And I'm going to stay in my pajamas all day on Christmas. And it's at least one day a year where my phone doesn't ring. And I'm going to enjoy that. And I will make monkey bread in the morning. I'll have it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and not have to share with anyone. And it's going to be such a big win.
Well, hey, Carrie, glad to see you down there. I hope your mouth is doing better. You had a little bit of dental work yesterday to be public about that. Glad to see you. He's probably showing it in the conference room. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Sorry about the beginning of the show. It was really professional. Sorry about the turkey. Can't figure out how to get that off. So But you know what? This might be Thanksgiving. Who knows? Because when you watch this in the future, nobody will ever. Ashley, if you feel like someone needs to eat your monkey bread, you feel like you have to share it, because I know you're used to sharing it.
Yes.
Find me.
Yeah. Right down the street. I'll deliver some.
And I know based on what's been going on in your life lately, you're probably you miss going to Virginia, but you're probably really excited just to be you by yourself, not have to entertain, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm sharing living space right now while the house is getting built. So I'm actually looking forward to a few days of just hanging out on my own.
That's great. That's great. Tracy Huffman. You know what? Good morning, Tracy. Thank you. Morning, rise up. We're here, and I'm glad you're here. You're always here. You're such a faithful. Tell us where are you going? Are you going to Ohio for Christmas, or is everybody coming to see you? I don't know that detail. Ed, how about you? You're not from here originally, so you got some places you could travel if you wanted. Where are you going?
If I want it. We're actually all going to Ashley's house for Christmas.
Oh no.
Monkey bread. 10-year-old, 7-year-old, we're bringing the tree. I'm going to drag it down the street, tie it to the bumper.
Oh, I should have just stayed quiet.
We're coming in, Ashley. We are coming in.
All right.
Now I just got to figure out where you live. So you might be safe. I don't know exactly where that is, but anyway. We are, good morning, everyone. We are staying home. The traditional Christmas, we have 2 little girls, 10 and 7. They've somewhat behaved this year. So, they'll get a couple of presents, maybe from Santa Claus, but traditional morning wake up, they'll be in their 6-7 pajamas, Christmas pajamas that they have. I had to do that, by the way. And I don't even know what it means. No one does. But just traditional stay home. Maybe we'll go down to Charleston, a few days after Christmas, stay down there we love Charleston, go down there for a few days. We do have our niece down at MUSC down there. She works there. So that's might be something that we do.
That's pretty interesting. So he likes monkey bread. He all of a sudden likes monkey bread. And I got this vision of we watched The Grinch. Grady watches The Grinch every day, all year long. Like we've been watching The Grinch all year. So it's finally the right time to watch The Grinch. But I thought of The Grinch when you said that, Ed, him with his huge sleigh with all the stuff on it, and that little dog pulling it, and your tree going behind, Max pulling that thing. I love it. So, Ashley, good luck.
Oh, gosh. Can I just tell you, too, because Tracy commented, Tracy, right before this started, handed me her homemade Chex Mix, which is amazing. She put bugles in Chex Mix, which is genius, if you ask me. And I had like a couple bites and it's sitting next to me, and now I can't eat it because I'm on a podcast. So if I mute and duck away, it's because I have peanuts and Chex Mix in my mouth.
I'm trying to figure out why the last time I saw you at orientation, you had Buckeyes.
I know people bring me so much food. It's not good.
Today you have trail mix, and I got nothing. This is what I got. I got a bow, a little tiny bow on my desk. I have a hydration accelerator. I got nothing, but thank you anyway. Because Tracy said she is not going. The kids are coming for Thanksgiving. Mike and I will stay in PJs in front of the. Oh, kids came for Thanksgiving. Well, this is clearly still Thanksgiving for us. Mike and I will stay in PJs in front of the fireplace with the dogs all day. Well, Ashley has monkey bread. If you guys get lonely, just go on over, see Ashley and Ed.
Christmas is over now.
Yeah. Goodbye, Christmas. Oh, if anybody else is on here, speak up. So what we're going to do today, and Ashley and Lawton knew a little bit about this, but Ed, we had you on talking about mortgages, and I love your perspective on, because just for those of you that don't know, Ed owns, it's just primarily the most successful mortgage company in our market. We'll just put it like that. We can say that because we have the most successful real estate company in the market. So we, at least for this show, Ed, let's brag about that. We'll just,
sounds great.
Our show, I make the rules. That's who we are today.
Yeah.
But you have always, it's interesting, always been interesting to me, Ed, that you are not just a mortgage guy. Like you always, and I'm talking 20 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago, maybe 20 is an exaggeration for me because I wasn't paying attention 20 years ago. But I feel like 15 years ago, you were a loan originator but you also were doing a lot of other stuff, like training people how to do stuff and creating these cool titles and having these classes. And then lo and behold, here comes Ed back to our market again a few years ago, and he's still doing the same thing. Like nobody does the same thing long term. Like I want to talk a little bit about that. Like why is that who Ed is? And it clearly it's been like that as long as I know. Has it always been that way? Just start our conversation there. And actually, you and Lawton have been a part of his classes in the past, I think. So I want you all to pipe in with the things that you've appreciated once we get to that conversation too. But Ed, tell me where it comes from.
Yeah. First off, again, thank you for having me this morning. So, I'm not sure, Tad. I think about that myself also, right? And I'm like, I said just last week, why do I do this, right? Why do I do this? And because I don't have to, but I wake up thinking about it, and I go to bed thinking about it all the time. And what I think about is, I always say to my kids, right? It's about shortening the curve. I want to see people succeed, right? And look, success it's relative, right? It could mean anything, but let's put it this way. I want to see people achieve whatever their goals may be, right? It's because I love it, right? My daughter says, "Daddy, stop crying," right? And I'll be watching a movie and someone that's, achieved something, or, an event, and, there's celebration and they're winning, and, and those things, believe it or not, it chokes me up, right? I get chills when I see that, right? Sporting events, or just, all these reels and things that you see of just great things happening. I've been not unlike a lot of folks, right? Started from very, very humble beginnings, and realized that it isn't how hard I work that changed my trajectory. It's what I truly what I believed in, and acted on those beliefs, that has changed my trajectory and my perception of things. And so, to me, the thing that holds everybody back the most is just themselves. It's their mind. And we hear people say that all the time, right? And maybe it's flash in the pan. You heard it once, you went to a seminar somewhere, someone said something, oh, that sounds great. What happens to 95% of everybody? Right? They walk out of there. It may stick for an hour or two, and then life hits them like they're, flying through a meteor shower, and then they're just right back to where they were before. So, I it's just something that I live for all the time, Tad, and I think about all the time, is changing perspective so things don't seem harder than what they really actually are, and changing mindset. Right? There's a saying that says, a changed mind. There's nothing more powerful than a changed mind, right? And that's what stops practically everyone. We all know what we should be doing if we want to go from X to Y. It's understanding that achieving that isn't as daunting or difficult as it may seem if your brain isn't programmed the right way out of the gate. So I don't know. I do it because I love seeing that. I love seeing folks achieve their goals. I love being part of that collaboration. I learned from it myself. My business is driven by the folks that I meet with, right? Because I feel like there's some level of accountability. If I'm talking about doing this and perspective and doing that, I come back to my world in the mortgage business, and it's changing what we do, right? It's changing what we do as well. So I think it just helps me. There was a fella named Scott Jackson, right? I was in the industry, works with Monica, right? Monica. And when I first got down here in 2005, we met every single Wednesday in a mastermind group that Scott would facilitate. And Scott was sort of like a thinker like I was, right? Or am. I watched my week. And by the way, that year that I got involved in that with him was my best year ever in production ever in the history of my time being in the business. And it was simply because every week I had a reminder, right? Every Wednesday I had a reminder. And just as I'm turning human again, right? And I'm coming off of that high from the last meeting, that last Wednesday, boom, I'm right back in it that next Wednesday. So, I think that has helped propel me in my business, and I just like to pay it forward because I feel that I can, right? Can bring that value to other folks and help them achieve whatever their goals may be.
That's good. Real quick catching us up. Ashley Tracy's bringing sausage balls, and Tara, good morning. She's on. Good morning. She has Christmas Eve with her home, with her little family. That's lovely. If you get bored, Ashley is available. So yeah. So as you hear that stuff, Lawton and Ashley, like Mandy tells me all the time, I'm a lot, because I can resonate with what, like, I cannot wait to go see the new Neil Diamond movie that's coming out on Christmas. I won't go Christmas Day because I don't believe people should have to work on Christmas Day. But sometime next week I'll go, because I just know it's going to move me. Like, I know that it's going to be a great story, and I'm going to have some feels. And I think I'm unique in that way. Ed feels like he's unique in that way, but I'm a lot. So when you hear that stuff, Ashley and Lawton, coming from a loan originator, and let's talk openly here, like a guy who's supposed to be focused on mortgages, does that add to what he brings to the table? Does it worry you that he might not be so great at his job? Let's be frank here, okay? Or you can be Lawton and Ashley. And what do y'all think when he talks like that? Tell me. Y'all been interacting with this guy for some time, so give me the real story.
Well, when I hear that, what I think is that it's more important for Ed to help other people than focus on what it is that he wants for himself next. And because he's so passionate about that, I think that that is how he shares information. It's like he feels like he has a duty to serve other people by saying, I will help you. And by helping enough people get what they want, he ends up getting what he wants also. So to me, I think it's remarkable to just have that messaging and be able to share that to people. I think it makes work different. Sometimes in our industry, we never want to feel like salespeople. And I think that when you attach to something that's bigger than selling a mortgage, now you don't feel bad talking to people about it. Sometimes you just don't want to say, this is what I do, because it always feels salesy and you just don't want to be that person. But when you're sharing, how can I make things better for you? I don't know. I think that he's just bringing a lot more value to a lot more people, but I don't think that detracts from him being a creative solutions finder for people that are actually getting loans. Like, he's in the trenches making that happen also. And I always hear Ed gets it done. Like, our agents just will say it all the time. Like, we had this challenge, but I'm with Revolution, and Ed will figure out a way to make it happen. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, well, I would say this, Ashley, real quick. When you take that, forget mortgage, forget, my end, but think about it from a realtor perspective, or anyone in any business, quite frankly, right? Selling you a home is not my number one priority, right? It's not, right? You may be like, what the heck are you talking about? It's finding you the right home. That's my number one. I'm not selling anything, right? I'm going to facilitate the transaction. Here's the 3 points of value that we bring to the table from my team, and negotiation and execution, and our ecosystem that we built as a realtor servicing this market for X amount of years, right? We have that system in place that's going to take you from contract to close and deliver the absolute best experience ever, right? In the history of all home buying. So I'm not here to sell you a home, but we're definitely going to be here to help you through that transaction when you find the home that you guys love. Boom. So just thinking about it differently, right?
Yeah,
I'm here to help you grow your business. By the way, we do mortgages too, right? I'm here to help you find your home. By the way, here's the 3 things that we do, or 5 things that's going to make that an incredible experience for you.
Yeah. So Lawton, as an end user of what Ed does, like you're an agent, an active agent, and your clients have used Ed. Give your perspective on what he's saying. How does it present? Because to me, it's like, is it distracting from? How do your clients feel? I guess that's all I need to say. How do your clients feel?
Well, first of all, I think that, like what Ashley's talking about, and that selling the mortgage or the service is not the most important thing. Like, first of all, it's a genius business plan, but if it was just the business plan and not someone's heart, at some point it will fail. at some point it'll slip up. And I think that's evident with Ed. But the first times I went to any classes where he was talking about building my business, I was confused. I was like, because I've talked to other loan officers and that's not what they're thinking. But I think, I mean, my client, a lot of the times, honestly, when I send a client Ed's way or Revolution Mortgage's way, like I hear from them less, if that makes sense, in a good way. Like, not that I'm not communicating with them, but about things that I'm not an expert in. I'm not hearing questions because they already know the answers. And I've worked multiple times. I've been working on deals, one being with Revolution, one being with someone that will not be named, a different company, and it's a totally different experience. And to this date, it has been. I don't know if Ed will ever slip up, but so far of my my time working, it's a totally different experience, and it leads to honestly me feeling more confident and less stressed about work when there's someone that, quite frankly, is an expert in things that I'm not going to be an expert in unless I ever change my profession. So it's definitely I really can say again to date that it's been a totally different experience than with someone else.
I appreciate that, Lawton.
I heard an unless in there, Ed. Maybe you should start getting in his ear about being an LO.
With who now?
Lawton said, unless I change my profession.
Oh, hey, yeah.
There's right there. Look out, Lawton. The texts are coming.
Well,
I'm still on the call. I'm still on the call. No. So it's interesting. You both said a few things. Like, Ed, you need to get Lawton in for a testimonial real quick on video. You need to get him to say those things.
It's being recorded, right? I mean,
yeah, it is. I'll send you that clip. That's right. Interesting that this is the thing I was going to get to. Ashley and Lawton said it. You can't just say these things and not have the background to get there and not have. That's what's always interested me about you, because I don't love it. Quite frankly, I don't love it when, well, I mean, I can't really say who, but like some people say, I'm going to help you build your business, or I'm going to help you. They try to get out of their lane, kind of. Like, we're always encouraged not to get out of our lane as agents, right? Don't try to write contract law. I mean, don't try to write an addendum. Don't try to write a mortgage. Don't even talk about a home inspection in detail. We're always told that. But then I have XYZ person is going to teach me how to build a business. Well, I'm pretty good at that. Don't come in my lane, right? But you've been this way since the jump, like 20 years of it. It's not like you, and I wanted to get to why, and I hear it in your voice. You're a lot like I am, and you can't help yourself. Like, you want to help so much. Mortgages is not enough.
Well, think about this, Tad, right? So in our industry, and we're solving for this in 2026. Everyone's going to start seeing stuff coming out on social media about what's about to occur in March of 2026, and it's going to be game changing for the real estate community, right? And it's from a collective alliance, right, coalition aspect, just to kind of leak a little bit, right? But think about what historically has always been. I'm the realtor. This is an agent. This is the lender. This is the inspection company. This is the insurance company, right? And you've got 5, 6, 7 different pieces that have to come together. What if all those pieces were already together, right? What if they were already together and provide that experience that you as an agent, you're hoping to happen? So, and it doesn't happen just because we all decide, we're all going to be working together. It's the collaboration. So to change the perspective, it's always, I'm the agent, that's the insurance company, that's the mortgage company, instead of, look, we've sat down, we collaborate, right? True partnership, as we talk about, isn't just about, hey, I'll do the mortgage when it comes. It's, hey, Ashley, let's talk about what you're thinking about doing for 2026, right? How can we better help with that, right? And if we're sharing things that are going to inspire each other, right? Whether it's stories or it's strategy or it's whatever, if we're sharing things that are going to inspire each other, that's what true partnership is about, right? I don't want there to be 5, 6, 7 different pieces. I want there to be one entity. And when you're within that entity and within those walls, it's a business, right? You take a company like Google or anyone, right? They may have multiple departments, but are they still one business? 100%. And when they sit down in an executive meeting, do they have a representative from each one of those departments together talking about their strategy and what's going to be next? You better believe they do. How come we're not operating that way? So I understand the different length and this and that. Look, I just may speak differently than other people. I may have more or less insight than somebody else. I don't know, right? But at the end of the day, I want to share that, because if I'm helping you grow your business, just like Ashley said, guess what? You're helping me grow my business. That's what true partnership is. We're still part of the same company. I don't care what anybody says. If we think that way moving forward, right, then we're going to collaborate more, trust more, and do more. If we still think moving forward into 2026, we're all part of a separate entity, and you're just there to service me, well, then we're not leveraging everything that we should be able to leverage to get our company to the next level. And in an agent's situation, they are the company. It is them. It's one person, right? Maybe it's a team, but that's it, right? They're already the company. How come you're not leveraging everyone around you, your team, right? Your ecosystem that you've developed to help further your cause.
So this leads me to Business Unusual, which I can't believe Barbara Corcoran stole that.
I know, it's unreal. High impact.
That's
we got the high impact in there. That's so small. Going to separate us.
So small of her. When did that concept come to your mind? When did you start thinking about it? Why brand it that way? Talk to me about Business Unusual.
Yeah, so Business Unusual really has become, an extension of Agent Athlete, right? So years ago, in the mortgage business, I created a platform called Mortgage Athlete, right? And I use the word athlete, simply because I think there's a huge correlation, right, between business and sports, right? Planning, strategy, execution, right? It's all there, and measuring, right? Scoreboarding, all of that. So I took all of that and packaged up a sort of a 1.0 version of Agent Athlete, or Mortgage Athlete, and I presented that and coached and got paid to coach a lot of loan officers at a national level. And it wasn't so much the coaching side; it was more collaboration. So I look at it and I'm like, well, geez, whether it's mortgage, whether it's real estate, whether it's you're selling widgets, bottled water, whatever the case may be, right? There's some very specific pillars of that business that need to be strong and wide in order to build your business up on top of them. So I kind of took, Agent Athlete and Mortgage Athlete, turned it into Agent Athlete, revised it, brought a 2.0, 3.0 version to it, really brought it to, more in today's world. Plus, by the way, over the years of me going through this, I'm learning and I'm seeing more better, efficient ways of changing perspective or doing a mind shift or getting from X to Y in just a different way of explaining it to someone that allows them to open it. So we created Business Unusual, which again is like a 3.0 version of Agent Athlete. And I say unusual because it is unusual, right? When you look at folks within any industry, people always say it's a 90-10 world, right? You've got 10% are generally doing 90% of the business, right? And then you've got everybody else. Well, that's, sort of unusual to be in that 10%. It takes something, right, different, unusual to be in that 10%, to be in that 5%, to be in that top 1%. So I say Business Unusual because not everyone's usually wanting to do what they're supposed to be doing or have to do to get to the next level. Right. So that Business Unusual, we are that top 10%. We think that way, right? We perform that way. We change our mindset to put it in the right place to ensure that we are putting ourselves in the right position and creating that environment. That's huge. People don't talk about that environment that you create around you that's going to help you get to that next level. That's what Business Unusual is.
And have you seen that in action, Ashley?
Yes, I was able to join 5 out of the 6 sessions. I think one I was out of town for. The kids are calling it Biz Unusual also, Ed, just so that you know, you got to shorten it. That's what you
Biz Unusual.
Biz
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's how I like to refer to it. But it was a great room. It was So much around mindset. And I think that that is the key component that Ed was able to lay out the foundation for his entire session, which was 6 weeks for all the agents, was to understand that this is attainable and knowing where you want to go and then reversing it backwards to what you need to do on a daily basis. And really looking at, like, one of his big talking points was you have 160 hours to make this happen. So what are we plugging into those 160 hours? Like, you can be so successful with that amount of time in front of you if you really think about what you have to plug in, and you're intentional and you dial it in, and you get rid of limiting beliefs, and you focus on the leading indicators. And it just goes hand in hand, I think, so much with Tad, what you have always shared with a lot of the agents also. But mindset, that was the key takeaway for me, was understanding that anything that you picture can happen. You just have to have a plan to get there
and get out of your own way.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys think of a question, hop in here. We don't have to go in a certain order, Lawton or Ashley. I'm just thinking of, what does that mean, Ed? Get out of your own way. I mean, I understand the colloquialism. I understand what it means, but what does that really mean practically? What do you see people doing when they are getting out of their own way?
Yeah, I think, again, it's just changing their perception and their mindset, right? At one point in my life, I'm busy, right? I was an assistant sales supervisor. By the way, I don't know who came up with that acronym for that, but but that was my title, right? And I'm busy. Yeah, yes, I'm busy. And they're like, well, what exactly are you doing, right? This was the owner of the company. And I said, well, I'm busy doing this and I'm busy doing that, right? And he said, do me a favor, right? And it was more of a workshop thing for me, right? He's like, do me a favor, for this week, write down everything that you've done, everything. And look, I may do something extra, right? Because now I'm thinking I'm recording what's happening, right? So I may want to do something more than what I've done before, because now I want to make it look good, right? But at the end of the day, what I noticed was how unbusy I really was. My mind said I was busy, right? Whether it's lack of organization, whether it's lack of understanding what my short-term goals are and what I'm trying to achieve, right? When you're not tracking all of these things, right? It's sort of like the law of diminishing return, right? When you're not just focused on a few things that are truly going to move that needle, and you're focused on a whole bunch of things, yeah, you seem busy, but your results are minimal, right? If at all, right? So that exercise really kind of changed a lot for me, and I remember it right to this day. And we're talking this was probably 25, 27 years ago that occurred. So, getting out of your own way is just having a much more clear understanding of what you're looking to achieve, number one. And then number two, as Ashley was talking about, when it comes to perspective and mind shift and mindset and all of that, is just understanding that absolutely anything is possible, right? I was running a presentation down in South Florida for all the Southeast regionals for a company I had worked with. And that presentation was on time management, right? And by the way, I decided that the night before, probably around 9 o'clock at night, and I finished that PowerPoint by probably 1 a.m. So when we talk about time management, it was horrible, right? But that's what I was talking about. And I had a room of probably 25 to 30 leaders, right? Executives, senior leaders, branch managers, for the whole Southeast in front of me. And we walked in and I said, don't look at your phone, don't text, don't write, don't do anything until I say so, right? Don't move until I say so. And I set that timer for 3 minutes on my phone. And by 90 seconds, they were like crawling out of their skin, right? Because it was silent. Think of how long 90 seconds is. If we were to do that right now, we'd lose a lot of viewers, right? But so we won't. But sit down after this, shut everything off, put a timer on put an alarm on for 90 seconds and just sit there, right? and we were talking about where we spend our time, right? That most people spend their time on the folks that are sucking the blood out of their organization and are the lowest producers versus spending the time on the folks that do want to get to that next level or are at that next level, right? So that was sort of the theme that it was. But what it showed was how long 90 seconds feel. Imagine if you had 160 hours a month. 160 hours a month. That was 90 seconds. You guys couldn't take it. You couldn't take 90 seconds of complete silence. What are you doing for 160 hours? What are you doing? And what's your goal? 2 transactions a month in 160 hours of being able to meet people and put together a platform that brings so much value to a home buyer or someone trying to get a mortgage, whatever your business is, right? What are you doing with your time? So, that's sort of, to me, getting out of your own way is just being much more clear on maybe you're busy, but maybe you're just busy on things that aren't moving the needle. What are those? What do they need to be? That's where the collaboration comes. And the mindset comes from just simply understanding what Ashley said. We've got 160 hours to make this happen. What are we doing with our time?
Love it. And Lawton, you have anything to add before I hop in with another question?
No, I think we heard it at the last REMAX convention that real estate agents spend most of their time running errands. And also the quote of, if you're working from home and you haven't showered, you're probably just home. I like that one. So
I like that one.
on to your next question. I thought
It sounds like my Christmas day, but we're not going to judge it.
Yeah, but now you're having a
Christmas
party. Now you got to get up and shower and get ready
also,
because you got a lot
it's
of people
really
coming
easy
over.
to find people's addresses on land records. If you need help, I can let you know how to do it. So just in case you need to make a Dash's house.
I sold my house lot and you cannot find me. I'm undetectable now.
Yeah, Tara. I know Tara was at the class. I know Tracy's been in and out. Some of the people listen on here. If you guys want to add anything that not from Ed's perspective, but from yours. And the reason we're doing this is because I think this is unique. I think this is unique. And what I love about this is it's refreshing. Excuse me. So I would be frank, like Ed and I, Ashley said it, we speak the same language. And I was nervous about that at first, Ed, when you were going to launch this Business Unusual, but I know you so long and so well that I'm not concerned with a mixed message coming into our home, because my coach always tells me the biggest threat to a real estate broker owner's authority and perspective is an outside coach. Not as an outside, if somebody comes in and pays Brian Buffini or Tom Ferry or Jared James, they can take those people with them. If I'm the authority, if we have the knowledge and we're teaching the stuff. So as much as I love you, I was like, oh gosh, is this going to confuse people? But Ashley, I said Ashley as a mole. I said, Ashley, keep a good eye on this thing because no, I'm just kidding. But I was hearing the language that I was hearing was similar. So I can only imagine how refreshing it is, or maybe confusing, for agents at other organizations that don't have this daily. It's probably It's probably very comforting. Frankly, I think that's what our association does. It allows broker owners to focus on other things other than instruction.
Well, yeah, I mean, very true. And that's what it's all about. So like when Ashley and I first started talking, what did we talk about? Integration, right? And enhancement, not replacement, right? And that's critical. And look, we speak the same language, Tad, because that's, I hate to say it, that's the winning language, right? And it's not because I'm the next best thing to sliced bread or whatever, but it's the mindset that has been proven, right? If you were to say, hey, all these people think this way and they fail every single day. Now, we know we all fail to succeed. We fail to succeed. But if everyone's thinking this way and the results aren't there, well, then there's a problem. But if you go back in the history, because all we talk about is just basic fundamental stuff. This isn't new, right? This isn't something that didn't exist, a mindset that didn't exist in people 100 years ago, right? It's the same mindset. Mindset's timeless, right? Maybe technology changes things and makes things easier, but it all starts with right here. All the technology, all the other tools, all the other resources, they're all there. But what stops us for the most part is here. So yeah, it's it's paying it forward. It's the collaboration. It's the true partner. And we talked about enhancing instead of replacing. And I'm glad you guys gave it a shot. I'm glad we got the thumbs up, Ashley. But I understand, and yeah.
Well, for us, it's not we're not using Ed to do something in our organization that we aren't already doing. It is enhancement. It's not. I'm not doing this to say, hey, we can't handle this part of it. Let's see if Ed can do it for us or whatever. What I love is that it's just what I wanted to make a point in the beginning. It's who you are. Your loan origination is secondary. Running your company actually is secondary. I had where I was right when I scrambled in here this morning. I was talking to a brand new agent into the business, and he was asking me all these questions about our organization. And I stopped him and I said, you know what? Mandy and I are the owners of this thing. We're the best. We're the best. And what would you expect me to say? Right. You need to go find that out from people that are in the trench. I actually told him to call Ashley, call a few agents of ours. What is it really like? Because the authenticity of it is deeper than just what we have to say about it. It's you have done. That's why you're here. You've done this for 30 years, and it's not changed. It's been consistent. Mindset has been a thing for you. So here's the question, Ashley. You and all three of you can elaborate on this. When I hear you say "get out of your own way," part of what I hear is. And I appreciate that Tara's on the call because she's done this, but some of you that might listen to this as a podcast or hear it on today's discussion, the room full with Carrie, whatever. I think part of it is let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with ourselves, with our efforts, with how much time have we spent really figuring out what we want, Ashley. How serious have we gotten about that conversation? And then, like I love Bruce Terman says, he's on here today. I love that he says, I really don't work that much. And that's by design. Like, how much are you really going after it? How much do you really
and everyone's got their own number, right? I mean, some folks get into mortgage and or real estate, right? Or I hate using the word sales, but any sort of sales job that may offer them some level of flexibility, right? And that's okay. Right. We understand that. Hey, I'm operating at this pace, and this is the pace that I want to operate at. Love those folks. And by the way, we love to service them. And I would say this before I continue, when it comes to mortgage being secondary, it's definitely primary. It's what we do. It's just two things together. It's that true partnership and execution. Right. Business Unusual isn't a separate entity. It's just how we operate with our exclusive business partners. Like, all the things we do, from quarterly events to this and that, the people that are on that invite list are the people that we do business with, right? It's the people we want to focus on in appreciation and in true partnership efforts, right? And working with them. But what was the question, Tad?
Well, I meant I was when I said mortgage was secondary, I didn't mean Revolution is secondary to Business Unusual. What I meant was, and I should have been more clear, your what you do as a career
is a byproduct
to your mindset. Yeah. Secondary to your mindset.
Yeah.
Mindset leads all the other things. And I told this new agent today, I said, well, I used to answer the question, like people say, hey, what do you do? Because that's what we ask at a bar. Like, what do you do? I used to say, well, we own a real estate company. Well, now I say we empower agents to build the business that they need to live the life they want to live. I mean, it's totally different. It's entrepreneurship. It's mindset. It's growth. So that I didn't mean to offend anyone at Revolution or your.
We're very offended, by the way.
Your platform.
But no, now I remember where we go. Look, some people, they just want to be at that level, and that's great. Yeah. My thing is, if you raise your hand and you want to get to that next level, we're that partner for you. Yeah. Right. And from a mortgage aspect, from a business growth aspect, from a collaboration aspect, we're going to be there. And this is what we bring to the table. By the way, here's our menu, if you will, right? Imagine that, right? Here's our menu of what we bring to the table, and you can pick and choose any of that you like. This is what true partnership is about.
Yeah. So Lawton and Ashley, talk about this for a second. So this is one thing Ashley and I talk about sometimes. We have an organization full of people, all with our mission is to help them live the life that they want to live, right? And everybody makes different choices with regards to that. But then there are a handful, if not a lot of people, that are disappointed with where they are. right? They're not at the end of the year, whatever the gauge is, the end of the quarter, whatever it is, because I'm not a scoreboard watcher, but they are disappointed with where they are. What does it relate back to? And is there correlation to what you do and not? I'm just wondering, Ashley, how often you think to yourself, why is this person just not doing a business plan and not doing the daily activities? Does it ever frustrate you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I have to remind myself that I can't want it more than they want it, and that everybody's idea of success is unique to them. But sometimes there are people who share with me what their idea of success and what their financial target is and what their goal is. And from my seat, sometimes I just still don't see them really hustling to go after the daily activities and have the conversation so that they can get there. And I know that it's there. So here's an example. Sometimes I'll sit with an agent, maybe they're new to the business, maybe not. And they share with me that they're going to have conversations with people through these 4 different channels. And one of them is open houses. And then I sit down with them 6 weeks later and ask how everything is going. And they say, well, open houses don't work. So now I'm going to go and do this other thing. Meanwhile, we have Lawton on the call who started his career going all in on open houses and social media. And he has probably had, I don't know, maybe even 10%, 30% of weekday open houses without traffic that walks through the door. But he put himself in a position to do his activities for that day in a house where maybe he was going to get to talk to somebody so that that person would then turn into a client and move through the home buying process with him, instead of doing it from home without showering and working from home, where nobody's going to walk through the door and have a conversation. And he's going to invest in the same activities while he's there to move his business forward. So he's going to have his social media content. He's going to do some follow-up. He's going to get some video text sent out, like those very smart key components of his business, so that if there wasn't traffic, he actually still moved his business forward. So he attacked open houses like nobody else. I mean, he was doing 6 a week and hustling and continuing to show up. And his conversations with people at the first open house are completely different than how he approaches conversations now, because he has gotten so much better at where he needs to connect to those people. But sometimes I sit with somebody and they tell me, well, I did open houses for 6 weeks. Only 3 of them had people come, and most of them already had agents, and I didn't get anything from it. So that is where sometimes I just want to, I don't know, I just want to be able to show them that there is a way through the consistency of doing that activity. I guess that maybe is one of my biggest frustrations.
The thing real quick, then we can get to Lawton. Now I'm in control. No, I'm joking. The thing real quick is sometimes they just don't know what to say, right? So the world is all about conversion. Everything's about conversion, right? If I sit in an open house, I bet if 5 people go in with as many as Lawton done, you have 5 prospects walk into an open house with Lawton, 5 prospects walk in with me, Lawton's probably got a better chance of having a better batting average, right? Just because he does it so much. And for the newer agent, sometimes I think they just don't do things because they don't have the confidence, right? And we've talked about this, Ashley, confidence in what to say, confidence in how to over analyzing, right? Sometimes you just got to jump in. And I always say, right, you don't need to know the script. You just need to understand the intent of the scene, right? Because a lot of times agents or anyone in any positions held back from approaching someone or having a conversation with someone because they don't have the confidence in what they're about to say is the right thing, right? And so that's like where Business Unusual comes in, where we talk through those things, right? And how to get around those conversations and put things into a matter of fact situation where, you just feel more comfortable. You understand your platform and what value you can deliver. And when you understand that, you actually do want to tell everybody about it. People get in this business and the first thing is, let me go do an open house. How do I get my first client? Before they even looked at how do I move my business, my reputation, and that client experience from contract to close? How do I do that? Before I even went to an open house, the first thing I'd want to know is, how is that process going to happen? My goal is to create the absolute best home buying or selling experience ever in the history of mankind. That's what's going to separate myself from any of my competitors as an agent, right? Have I actually sat down and figured out what that looks like before I actually tried to get a client in? Right. So that's where I think they make the mistake, because the more they look at that in the beginning and set that platform up, the more confidence they're going to have to go out and do those things, because they're going to understand what value they actually do bring to the people that they're trying to serve.
Lawton, you got something to add to that? It's kind of hard to talk about yourself, but
no, I think knowing, like Ed's kind of talking about there, like if you're going to start and the next day say I'm going to do an open house, it's a good idea to figure out how to do an open house correctly and forget about the scripts or conversations with the people. You have to get the people there. And I'm more of a believer that if you can specialize, I guess is a word, to market your open house and get people there, the conversations are just hanging out with people. And the reality is, if you stress too much about having a script and somebody walks in the door and you're stressed too much about what you're going to say, well, they're definitely not going to work with you, right? But if they come in and you just hang out with them, they still might not work with you, but I think you have a better chance. But I hopped in, and this will make you feel even better. If there's somebody that's listening that's done a couple weeks or months of open houses and had very minimal people come through, like, first of all, join the club. Second of all, like my third open house had 20 people through, and I didn't have, none of them ever responded to me. And like, that's a different hit to your ego. Like, I got the people there, and then I'm like, oh, so it's just me. It's me that is the problem right now. So, but a lot of it for me was just doing it and getting in the habit. And it goes all the way back to, I knew that I needed to do these things this many times to lead to this many people. And I trusted in that. And quite frankly, the reason I trusted so much in it is because I had the time. Like, we're talking about how 90 seconds is a lot. Think about the hours you have. Like, I didn't have other things to do. Right. And I was in a unique situation where I didn't have a family yet that I was taking care of, or kids or anything like that. I was straight out of college, but most people have an hour and a half, 2 hours that they can sit somewhere and work on something else and wait for someone to walk in the door. But really, a lot of it was in the morning when I got up and I had planned an open house, and I have to tell myself, listen, if nobody comes in, no one's coming into my front door at my apartment or my house. I hope. Like, that would be worse if they did and come in and ask questions about it. But like, why not? Right. And it's ended up leading to something that I'm really proud of and excited about. And I think, I would assume if I was in Ashley's position, I would be like having a hard time hearing people say they want something more, but not doing the things to get it. But then I think you have to have, like, we're talking about an honest conversation, like, think maybe that's not what you want. Maybe you talk about, I want to do these actions to get this amount of income, but then you're not doing those things and you're still happy. Well, then you have to just be honest. Like, that might not be what you want, and that's totally fine. And like, we're talking about people that say, I don't really work a ton, but I'm happy. Like, that's where you want to be. That's the goal, right? Like, being happy with what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm just amazed at how much I pontificate on this show. And then when he talks for 90 seconds, I should have just not said anything for the whole first 30 minutes. Because when someone speaks that's doing it and experiencing it, it's so much more valuable than, it leads me, we could do a whole nother show next season on this, but motivation is something you can't, in my opinion, you can't create in someone. They've got to be motivated by themselves. They have to be, I think Lawton came to the table motivated. I didn't even know that about him, and he's my son, but he clearly has shown a year in he's motivated. Ed's clearly motivated. Ashley's motivated, but some people just aren't. Then there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't know that they are ever learned to be driven. They don't have it.
Yeah, I think the difference too is, what's motivation and what's inspiration.
Right.
To me, motivation is like flash in the pan. That's exciting. Let's go. And then again, you get into the meteor shower of life, and you get pounded a few times, and next thing you know, you're not motivated anymore. But are you inspired, right? And what inspires you? And finding that is what's going to, make, and to Lawton's point, hey, what inspires me may be having half the day of doing absolutely nothing, right? And I'm okay at the level I'm at, and that's my inspiration, is to have, you know, all this time to do whatever I want to do outside of working. I don't want to work a lot, and that's okay. But you got to find out what that trigger is, right? Truly, that's gonna get you. That's whether it's and it's emotional. We were talking about that, right? It's something that you've got to really internalize. And when that trigger happens, right? Again, there's nothing more powerful than a changed mind, right? When that trigger happens, and you combine that with like a group that Remax Southern Shores brings together from a leadership and training perspective and all of that, you bring those two things together, you're unstoppable. But you got to have that inspiration, and it's got to be something that's internalized. You can't just, you know, motivation lasts a minute, inspiration will last a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. Great partnership that we have. Do you want to add something, Ashley? I know you have to run.
Yeah, I have one of our sessions actually coming up in just a little bit, but Lawton reminded me of, I mean, he basically used different words to quote the great David Scott, where he says, what is it that you want, and what are you willing to do to get there? And he keeps it that simple, like with pages and pages and pages of manuals and PDFs and training courses that David Scott has written for designing a business. I think at the helm of all of it is, what do you want and what are you willing to do to get there? And to your point, Tad, sometimes, or Lawton actually too, sometimes maybe people just didn't realize exactly what it was that they wanted, or they didn't actually want to do the activities that it was going to take to get there. And now it's okay to reevaluate and have a new goal in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what getting out of your own way is. Like I said a minute ago, be honest with yourself. I say this oftentimes when we do the Life You Choose class. You have to have the courage to speak up for what you want. And you have to really understand what that is, because then we're going to ask you to do the activities to get that. And if you're not willing to, you don't really want it enough. So let's just readjust. So anyway, we could talk for hours about this. I want to be conscious, since I fumbled around for 10 minutes at the beginning of time. The reason we did this episode of Rise Up in Real Estate is because I wanted to give Ed a chance. He didn't know this. To give Ed a chance to kind of give a little bit of story about himself, because I want to encourage you guys, if anybody's listening out there at an organization that hasn't had Business Unusual in their classroom yet, call your broker owner and give this thing a shot. Like, I think it would really benefit. Tell your broker owner, it might help them. It could help them with a piece that they don't want to be a part of. Actually, I chose that word on purpose. So Ed, you're easy to find. He's with Revolution Mortgage. Reach out to Ed or reach out to us, and we will get you with him, because I know you're launching some more stuff in 2026 and we want to be a part of it. So
yes, sir.
Ed, I appreciate you being here. Ashley, I know you got to run to your class. Lawton, thank you for your contributions. The Gingerbread Man says Merry Christmas.
Yeah, congratulations figuring out your banner.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, we have a gingerbread.
The show was like it was supposed to be. My editor's going to probably fire me after this one. But we are going to wrap up season 7 next Wednesday and launch season 8 in the new year. And I think you're going to be very excited about what we're going to have. Lawton and Ashley don't even know how involved they're going to be, but it's going to be very involved. And we've got some exciting topics coming up. So Rise Up Nation, thanks for being here today. This will be podcasted on Monday on all the channels. So you guys have a very Merry Christmas, and thanks for your contributions.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. It's great to see you.
Thank you.